know. I know the hell that you've gone through. I went through it myself. Setting up the Elgato HD60 Pro specifically. I never owned a different one, so I can't speak to those. But setting up the HD60 Pro to a PS4 Pro was one of the worst tasks that I've ever had to deal with. So, wanted to make a video on some of the troubleshooting and the things that I had to do to get mine to actually finally work. So, let's get into that. Okay, so I'm going to assume that by making it to a how to fix all this bullshit video that you've already made it through the installation and seen some videos or looked at some threads on Reddit or something like that. I'm going to assume that you've made it that far. So you've already gone through the checking and make sure your drivers were up to date, that the Elgato was installed correctly, all the dumb little things that everyone says to do, as if you haven't already checked that. So as far as the two main issues that I had specifically, and the ones that I kept looking up, I kept seeing people over and over and over and over again having issues with their screen, lagging, screen tearing, all that good stuff, as well as the audio. The audio being the big one. The audio's garbage. It's either whether it picks it up or it doesn't, whether it's cracking in your ears the whole time, which is what it was doing to me. It's just crackling, popping, just going crazy in my ears. And sometimes on like the recording and the output side, it was fine. It was just coming, by the time it made it to my headset, it was shit. So as far as those issues go, and if I think of any more along the way, then we'll see. I've messed with just about every setting that there is to mess with. So let me bring my Streamlabs over here. Now, as you can see, audio's not popping. If Modern Warfare wants to connect at some point, audio's still not popping. The screen's not going crazy. I've gotten this functional, thank God. But it took forever. So first, this is a part of the obvious section, but just in case you haven't seen 85 other people tell you to do this, before you even connect the HD60 Pro to the PS4 Pro or any other device that has this setting, I'm not sure that any do, but turn the enable HDCP off. I'm sure you've seen that, but do that or it won't work. So make sure to do that. Now, as you can see, I use Streamlabs. Very similar to the classic OBS. So, and I'm sure anything that I'm setting in here for the most part is going to pertain to you. It might be a little different of how you get there, but I would still, look through this even though it's on Streamlabs if that's not what you're using. Especially if you're on OBS, because I know it's very, very similar. So as far as the actual setup, you've made it to this point in order to discover that you had issues. Surely. You downloaded this guy right here, your game capture software from Elgato. I would say still download that first. I use both at the same time, and I'll get into that later. That's the only way that you're going to get clear audio. That's just it. So we'll go through that. So the way that this is set up is I downloaded this software and honestly didn't touch it. Like, these are my settings and whatnot, but I don't really care about what's going on in here. I have HD 1080, allow 60 FPS, quality to good. I really don't care. Do not care. Because I'm not actually going to be recording with this software. I'm not live streaming with this software. I'm only using this software for the audio. With their little preview feature, everything that you just heard whenever I was on the Warzone, Modern Warfare screen, that's coming from here. It's not coming from Streamlabs, and I don't have anything set up any type of crazy way. My headset is in my computer like normal. There's nothing crazy. I don't have the sound capture app that the software that they use. Don't need it. So this is purely for the audio to actually come through without it popping like crazy, without having a bag of popcorn in your ears. This is it. Now, there is a way to get the popping if you have a system that you can't afford to have this open in its preview, and then your preferred system for the actual recording live streaming. If you can't have both open at the same time, because you got a low end PC, then I'm still gonna show how to get that set up and how to at least minimize the crackling that you're going to hear. But for the most part, that crackling is near unavoidable if you have it set up that way. But for the way that I have it set up, I downloaded that software, and then came to here because this is where I actually want to record. This is where I want to stream from. So let's look at this. So first, you are going to add new source, video capture device, add source. Once again, I'm sure you've done this if you made it to a how to fix video, but just in case, add this video capture source, choose your Elgato. Now, you come to here, you go to properties. Now, Streamlabs on their site is going to tell you, if you like to go through Streamlabs help and go through all of that, whenever you go to select your device, they're going to tell you to use Elgato Game Capture HD, which is the software that you download from Elgato's site, the one that I just had open. Do not click that. Your Elgato is only going to work in one software at a time. So if I'm going to have that one open for my audio, I cannot select that here because only one of them is going to work. So luckily for the newer devices such as the HD60 Pro, you don't need to use this. You can use this right here, which is what I've selected. The Game Capture HD60 Pro. Then in parentheses it'll have video. That's what you want to use. Go ahead, leave it on device default. I've all this on default. The only thing I changed here was buffering. Switch that to disable. Output or audio output mode, just capture audio only. Doesn't matter because Streamlabs isn't getting it from there. So have that. You're going to configure video. Just check through all this, and one of my problems didn't get solved until I checked it. You really don't need to do anything here. Don't need to do anything here. I happened to notice by looking at this that signal status. I'm seeing, this is after, I messed this. This is maybe day 6 of trying to fix these problems. I noticed this right here. So the audio signal that your computer is receiving from the HD60 Pro is 48,000 hertz. That is not going to be the default on your stuff at all. It's going to be the 44,100, I think. I think it's 44.1. So I changed everything in sounds. So go ahead and right click on this little sound guide down here, open up sounds, playback. Now I just changed every freaking thing that is active in here. Just go ahead and change it 16-bit 48,000, because apparently after discovering that and looking at that specifically, I in searching for that specifically, I figured out that apparently in some cases the Elgato has trouble. Some of that audio gets lost in having to convert the samples to different hertz levels. So just change everything on your computer. 48,000. It's not going to affect what you're hearing anyways. There's very basically unnoticeable difference between the 44 default and 48,000. All that's really adding in is things that you can't even hear, things that are outside of the normal human ear. I use Voicemeeter as well to level out everything. That's not really necessary. I do recommend it though, as it'll make everything sound better and blend together, especially since you are going to be having video, and say you have friends that you play with, like in my case, the person that I play Warzone the most with, I play on my PS4, but he plays on PC, so I'm talking to him through Discord. So any PC audio that you have, you can level it all out together inside of Voicemeeter. So I would recommend doing that. And should anybody watching this want to see how that gets set up, I can do another video on that as well. But you want to make sure that's all at 48,000 hertz to avoid any sampling issues. Same goes for your audio tab here in Streamlabs. So you go to this audio in your settings of Streamlabs itself, sample rate, change it to 48,000. Make sure the channel is stereo, because the Elgato only works with stereo. Any other type of sound is no bueno. So that alone, just changing to 48,000 on every single thing, playback and recording, changing the audio to 48,000, making sure it's stereo here in Streamlabs, that alone, along with having it play through Elgato software in their preview, it's perfectly clear audio. The video issues we'll get to, but from the audio standpoint, that is all I had to do. Now, the only difference, if you are one of those people on the lower end of PCs, you can't afford to give up the CPU power to be running the Elgato software and this software. Although it doesn't take much, but the struggle's real out here, so I get that. If If that's you and you want everything coming here, then you do have that option. Now I'll double check. Let me see here. This might not work for me specifically since I have it coming out of the preview, but whenever you go into your video capture device where you set up the video for this in your respective software, whenever you go to this audio output mode, instead of capture audio only, what you're going to do is output to your desktop audio, and that should allow you to be hearing in your, it'll output the sound to your desktop that it's capturing. There's two options here: direct sound wave out. I found, because I tested this option for myself before discovering that I should just use the audio from Elgato's software. The option that I had the most success with when doing this was using wave out. It seemed like there was much less popping from there. Now, it shouldn't ask you to use a custom audio device. Like, that should work in and of itself. If you go output wave out, and you select that in here, and you're not hearing any sound, just use custom audio device, and it'll be pretty obvious. Game capture HD60 Pro, then audio, and that should solve that for you. And then, even if you didn't want to do that, and you just said, capture only, you could also, at least in Streamlabs, once again, I'm sure that there's an option in other services. Come to your mixer, find your video capture device source in your mixer. Streamlabs will do this for you. Put your video capture device in the mixer, go to monitor and output. So you'll hear exactly, say you don't have voice meter, you don't have something that's leveling that out for you, and you're just using your software's mixer, monitor and output will let you hear as well as outputting to the stream recording, whatever you're doing. It'll let you hear what your stream is hearing, what your recording is hearing in relation to everything else that's going on in your mixer. So it's two ways to do it there. Now, you are probably going to hear cracking when you do that, but if you can't afford to have this open, which I would highly recommend because it saved my life being able to have this open, because it's crystal clear, as if you never touched an Elgato, you're just listening to the game. It is crystal clear coming through Elgato software. For whatever reason, when you're capturing it to any other software, it seems like everybody has audio issues. So, but if that's not what you want to do, then those are your options as well, at least in Streamlabs, but I'm positive that it'll be very similar in any other program that you're using. So that is the audio. Now, funnily enough, the video issue that I was having is actually pretty stupid, to be honest with you. I kept noticing I thought it was lagging. I don't know what I thought was happening. I was getting into games and it just was not working out for me. It just looked like shit. What I ended up figuring out, I looked this up everywhere. I could not figure it out. So I'm looking, of course, the Elgato is only, going at 60 frames per second by default. And I'm looking, and I just have no idea what's going on. And it doesn't matter what I change, what I do, I'm lagging. Well, it turns out I wasn't lagging. My screen was tearing. Now, I I played on this PS4 Pro and this monitor that I'm using currently. I've played the entire time that I've had this PS4. This monitor is what I'm using. Now, when I plug that HDMI from there directly to this monitor, everything's fine. No issues. For whatever reason, I installed the HD60 Pro, and hooked everything up the way it's supposed to be, and everything is just terrible. Now, what was happening to me is actually, I don't know what happens whenever you plug a HDMI from your console directly to your monitor. It fixes something. Something works. That does not work the same way when going through the computer essentially, and then out to your monitor. I have a 144 hertz monitor. The Elgato only outputs at 60 frames per second, so I'm sure you can do the math and figure out what my issue was. My screen was tearing. Now, it wasn't crazy, which is why I thought I was just lagging. I just thought there was a connection issue. Something was going on that I was trying to figure out, because it wasn't like the super noticeable, like, classic screen tear where it just wasn't like that. So I didn't know what was going on. I happened to have that thought to check one day in my display settings and try this out. Now, apparently, plugging the PS4 directly to the monitor, everything's fine. Doesn't matter. Don't need to do a thing. But when you go from PS4 to Elgato to monitor, I guess it doesn't change your refresh rate of your monitor. Something that happens whenever you plug direct does not happen through the system, because as soon as I went, to right click on your desktop, do display settings. I should have explained that while I was doing it. Right click desktop, display settings. Scroll down, advanced display settings. Pick your monitor. I use 2, so this is the one that I'm on. Now you can see in the display information I'm connected to a graphics card. I have the refresh rate set now to 60 because I was about to make some videos for on the PlayStation instead of my computer. So if you're having an issue with the video stuttering and doing some weird stuff, try this out before going any further, because this is literally it. This is the only thing. I mean, I did so many different things. Nothing worked until finally I looked. I came in here. I went to my monitor where I normally have it at 144 hertz. If I'm going to be playing and capturing on my Elgato for something on my PS4, I have to go in here, go to display settings, set the screen refresh rate to 60 hertz, apply, okay, and I'm good to go. All issues out the window. So for maybe some of you like me who have been playing PS4 to your monitor for years, and obviously nothing's wrong with your stuff, and then you hook this up and you want to start recording on your computer and you don't know what the issue is, that could be it. So I would try that. Just going into your display settings and locking your monitor in your window settings to 60 hertz. So you're going to be 60 hertz there. You're going to be matching the output of the Elgato. And same goes for, obviously your output in whatever your software of choice is. You want to make sure you have 60 here, 60 as my display, and the Elgato is outputting at 60. So kind of the same thought process behind setting all of the audio hertz, all the sampling rates for the audio to 48,000. You want to make sure that all that information is concurrent between all your devices and all your softwares, because if not, things are going to stutter. They're going to lag. They're going to not work, and they're definitely not going to be quality that you're wanting to put out into the world. So those were my biggest issues, and that's how I fixed them all. I'm racking my brain right here before I end the video to really think if I encountered anything else. Because like I said, this lasted many days, probably a whole week of just messing with the Elgato and trying to get it to work correctly. I believe that is it. But if you're having another issue specifically, feel free to comment below, and I'll take a look at it and see if maybe I just forgot it in the moment of recording this, and I actually know what's going on, or even if I don't know what's going on, maybe I can find it, and make a quick little clip of what to do, respond to your comment with that. I've got no problem doing that. So if you're having an issue, and you watched this video, you tried these things, and these things didn't resolve it, and you've already done the obvious of opening your task manager and looking at your utilization, and your CPU's not capped at 100 whenever you're trying to record, and things like that. You've already done the obvious, and you're just nothing's working. Just drop a comment. I'll take a look at it and see if I can't figure out what's going on. But as far as everything that fixed mine specifically, this is what's up. So that's it for me. If you think of anything, just drop it down and I'll take a look at it. But for now,